Hi, I'm Melissa and I'm one of the remodeling designers here at Cipriani Remodeling.
And my name is Ken and I'm also a designer here at Cipriani.
And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about Cipriani Remodeling and what design build actually is.
Yes, because there are many different types of contractors out there. They each have their place, but they offer different services. They have different expertise. And we believe that design build is an incredible way for your project to come about. And we've perfected this process over many years.
And we just want to make sure that when you're looking to start a remodeling job, that you find the best fit. We're kind of the designer, the architect, the contractor.
The hand holder, the planner, the warrior.
All in one.
So as a design build firm, we have the expertise to bring your project to life, but how do we get there? So it really starts with the fact that you're going to be hiring a designer and you're going to be working closely with them to solve your problems, to imagine a space that's going to be more functional, that's going to fit your aesthetic. So it begins with a visit out to your house. We've gone out to many homes and yes, and we say, you know, first of all, I love that you ask this question a lot. What scares you about remodeling?
A lot. You know, when you ask that question, so many people say, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what it's going to cost. How long is it going to take? You know,
I don't know what I should include into my project. I have all these ideas and I don't know how to make them become a reality.
You know, you might have that question and you might have a completely different answer, and that's what we're there for.
Right.
We're there that nothing should scare you about the project.
So we go through and say, you know, what is deficient about your space? What are the problems? What would you like to improve? And that will tell us a lot. That's a good starting point to say, how can we improve the negative? And then we get to turn that around and also say, well, what would you like to include? What's your dream kitchen? What's your dream bathroom? So that we can incorporate some of those wants and wishes into the project also.
And most people at that point bring out their Pinterest or their house pictures and show us all these things that they love. And, you know, we talk through and walk through of what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And help you visualize what that space can be. And keep in line, you know, function, look, everything to help bring that dream to reality.
So from those conversations, we're able to start coming up with what we call a scope of work. That's going to detail the types of changes that are going to happen within your space. They can be very broad, such as removing walls. Are those walls load-bearing, or what we call partition walls where they're not supporting? What types of changes are we going to be making in the electric, in the plumbing? We call that infrastructure, which can also include your HVAC, your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning ductwork. And so that gives us an idea of, now we're starting to put the pieces together. How are we going to make these changes, and what do we need to do from the construction standpoint of it as well to make this happen?
Do I need to move windows and doorways to make the cabinet layout give you more of that cabinet space that you need? Right now you have a microwave over your stove, but you really want this gorgeous vent hood. But now I have to move the window to make that work how it works. So it's a little bit of back and forth, like a puzzle, putting it together.
Very much so. And we do this for so many homeowners. And we have the experience to make the right suggestions. But again, we want to focus it on what's going to be the best result for your family. So it's about how you entertain, whether that's how you get ready, you know, for work in the morning. What's that morning routine look like? What could be a Sunday afternoon when you're watching the game, all the way through the big holidays. So each one of those is going to have a different case use, and we try to blend those various needs into, you know, your new kitchen.
Where do the kids do their homework? Where do they eat breakfast? You know, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And we always make a wish list, a want list, and a need list.
And sometimes you'll see a particular item on each of those.
And we try to
It's
get as many
upgraded.
things as we can on what the final list ends up becoming.
Right. So we've started the process by having some conversations about the problems we're going to solve, what happens next. And it's a very easy decision for you. You just have to simply say, I would like to continue to work with Cipriani. And we go about figuring out the details of your project from there. So we'll go to various showrooms and we'll look at materials, and we're with you each step of the way. And I like to say it's more than just hand-holding, because there's going to be so many different pieces about the design of your project, and you can rely on us to make sure that they're coming together in a beautiful way. It's an expression of your style, and along the way we can also be making some other suggestions just to throw into the mix. But what that allows us to do then is get the exact price for your project, and that's the goal, is to then transition you into the build phase. But we have a very talented team, some wonderful administrative people that will be a part of your project. Unfortunately, you'll never get to meet them, but they're instrumental in making your project happen. They're also then, when we're ordering all of your products, that they're navigating the supply chain. They're making sure that things will be delivered and get to where they need to be, as well as our project managers then that are going to oversee your project.
So a lot of times when you do a project on the construction side, they have project managers that float job to job. They stand there with a clipboard. They make sure that all the subcontractors are doing their job. Our project managers work for the company, and they do manage the job, but they also are doing a lot of the construction on the job. So they're not just standing there with a clipboard. They're installing your cabinets. They're installing the trim. They are managing the trade partners that we use, but they're physically doing the construction too. So depends what day it is of what hat they're wearing.
Right.
Some days they're managing, some days they're doing the work, some days they're doing both.
I think that's a huge difference, because our guys are really very talented. They're great craftsmen. They're great problem solvers, because you plan for something, but then there's always those real world conditions.
Yep.
And you say, all right, well, how am I going to build it the way Ken and Melissa designed it? And
I don't know.
They're the ones that are going to work through those details and making it happen.
And that's all part of the team.
Absolutely.
Cipriani is not one person. It's a team.
From design, from the project management, to our trusted subcontractors, our trusted trade partners.
Yeah, a lot of people call them, subcontractors. They're our partners.
Right.
We don't have 15 electricians and pull one out of a hat of who's going to go on your job. We have 2 that we work with.
They're all a team. I was having a conversation with someone. We were starting to develop their project, and the drywall was really important to them. They wanted beautiful finished walls, that level 4 finished where you don't see a seam and anything. And they said, I want your A team. I said, we only have 18. There's no group that comes in.
You don't have to worry about who's going to show up at your house.
Right. And when they're going to show up, how they're going to show up. Yeah, all of that. Because your project manager is the one that is lining them up, communicating with them, making sure that they understand what their role is. They're not just, when you compare that to maybe a general contractor scenario, you might have to be there at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to, let the plumber come in so he can finish up the fixtures in your bathroom. The project manager will communicate when they're coming, get them into your property, and making sure that everything is locked up safely when they're done. So it is stress-free, because you don't have to worry about those details.
It's a different experience.
Totally different experience. Yeah.
One of the biggest misconceptions I think people have is when they're starting to do an addition project. So as much as we do bathrooms and kitchens, one of the biggest things we spend a lot of time with folks on is an addition. I need more square footage in my house. And a lot of times when people call in is, I already met with an architect.
Right.
Which is great. They come to us with architect plans. Great. The other part is, I want to do an addition, but I don't know what I need to do.
Well, it's funny, because even when you have architect plans, it doesn't mean that that's the right solution.
Nope, because you hired an architect
he'll draw whatever you want.
And he doesn't know how much it costs.
He doesn't even know if it's right for your family. He's
An architect.
an architect. He's not experts in remodeling like we are.
So the great part about a design build company is we are going to help you design it for what works with your family. Then we're going to figure out the architect piece and how it's going to be built.
Right.
And we're also going to be able to give you an idea on how much of an investment range it is. Do we have to make it a little bit smaller? Do we have to change the layout of what fits for that investment range?
Especially with additions, it's like, what is the right size? You know, because you can have too much space in an addition if it's not functioning, if it's not adding to your life or your lifestyle.
It might be, somebody might say they want a 30 by 30 addition, but why? I don't know, just sounds like a good size.
I've met with another family that they wanted to open up the whole first floor, that open concept. So we were going to remove a couple of walls. This was going to open up the family room to the kitchen, that sequestered little dining area, the dining room that nobody uses anymore, and they were getting rid of that china cabinet because nobody has those either. But it's all right if you do.
We'll find a place for it.
So, they thought, all right, I'm going to have all of this great open space, but, when we talked about what their main goals were in the kitchen, it became clear that they still didn't have the clearances that they wanted. And for that family, the right solution was just a small addition. That was going to give them really the way to open up the space and use it. So, they didn't need to do a huge one, but that was, what we figured out was best for them.
And that's where starting with what you need and not jumping to an architect first.
But then we plan it, and then we get our architect involved.
So we do it a little different, but the end concept ends up working out better.
So a question that we get very commonly is, does it cost a little bit more to work with a design build firm compared to a general contractor?
The simple, straightforward answer, yes, it does. But there's multiple reasons of why. And sometimes people don't realize it until after they've gone in another direction and they call us back and say, should have gone with you guys in the first place. One thing we pride ourselves in is giving the right price in the beginning.
Yeah.
When we give an estimate, where some people are like, oh, it's higher than I thought, let me go with somebody else, and then that price goes up and up and up, and it's right to where we told them that number was going to be. But the education that we give, the stress-free experience that we give, the checking to make sure that we're not going to run into any surprises when the job starts, that fear of what if, what could be, you're not going to get with another contractor. We take that fear, we take that stress away from you. Quick little story, I had a homeowner that almost walked at the end. And I think you were here the day they came in.
I was.
And they said they were going to go
remember.
They said they were going to go home and think about it. And I think when they left, we're like, all right, what are they going to do? And they called back and they moved forward with us. And after the first couple days of their project, she sent me an email saying how wonderful everything was, and they were happily ready to send their first check for their payment over. And the value to them was so worth it. She can't wait to do their next project with us.
They got it. They got to see us in action.
Yep.
And, just from, I remember, because that was the first week into their project, just the way we mobilized on the property, got everything set up, our dust protection, the organization that was there. Yep. They understood why we're worth it.
Yep. And some people realize it when it's too late.
Unfortunately.
So the answer is yes, but it's worth it. And I think another telltale sign is the amount of repeat customers that we get that have done multiple jobs with us.
Yes. I just finished one bathroom and my client was ready to do like the next one. They wanted to keep on going. They said, we can use the same dumpster. And I'm like, all right, well, we better get cracking. And we did. Yeah. So if you're looking for this type of experience with experts in all of their trades and crafts, you feel like we might be the right fit for you, please reach out and we'd love to start the conversation with you.
Yep. Interior renovations, bathrooms, kitchens, additions, we're here to help you.